Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sal, and today we're going to be breaking down the Heritage, the next stop on the PGA Tour. The Masters are over. The Masters hangover is done. And yeah, I am now covering golf. I covered the Masters, had a very successful weekend. It was my first time playing DFS golf. I will put that all on the table. We came in second in the 333 and lost by a half a point to McLovin. We lost by literally 0.5 on Tony Finau's last putt, the second to last putt of the entire tournament, right before Tiger sealed it. And yeah, we lost by 0.5. If he bogeys that 10-footer, we walk away with 10K instead of 5K, but it was fun, right? I never played golf, and it was a great sweat. So I'm going to be playing golf now. I realized that the golf scene, and sorry if I'm talking about this before getting into it, so let me just say welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, I'm going to be reaching a whole new audience since I'm doing now a golf video. I focus on NFL, NBA, and a little bit of MLB to an extent, but I'm going to be covering golf now. So have a sheet here. And I realize there's just not a lot of information. I mean, you go to the NFL, you go to the NBA, and even the MLB to an extent, there's loads of information. There's loads of sites gathering stats, gathering data. For the most part, it was really hard for me to put together this sheet right here. There's only a couple places that have that information. And before I get into it, I just want to say Fantasy National, incredible spot. I am now a member there. You have to check out Fantasy National. The amount of information that they have, not just for recent play, but historical data is what shocked me for any course. It's so easy to filter. You just go on their website, you filter a player, you filter a specific course, a specific hole, and it's so easy to look at it. Mixed conditioning models, so many different things that you can look at, comparing prices across sites for seeing where the players are better. I can't even just speak to do it justice. I'd say get in there, even if you just want to test it out. They have a $10 a week trial. I'm not an affiliate by any means. I just have a membership there. So you can check out Fantasy National, fantasynational.com. I'll link it up down below for this video. Definitely check them out. They're really awesome, and they are by far the best provider of data, statistics, charts, whatever it might be in the PGA, the golf space, by far that I've seen. So yeah, if you're not paying for a membership, it's hard to find any data. I put the sheet together not paying for a membership. I do have Fantasy National where I look at some other things because they have a lot more in-depth stuff. But I do believe that this is good. So above my head, you can see that there's a golf sheet, and this is what you can get on Patreon. This sheet, it's going to be a lot more fine-tuned as the day goes on. I'm going to add a couple more stats, but you can see I have every single stat that you think would be reasonable. I'm going to add par 5 efficiency. So yeah, we have the Heritage. The Masters are over. It was fun. The Heritage is here. It is starting on Thursday. It is going to be a par 71. It is not the longest course by any means, but it is going to be a Dye-inspired course. Or I mean, he built it with the help of, I believe, Jack Nicholson or Nicholas. So Nicholson. So yeah, this is what we're looking at today. We have a course that is very interesting. I mean, in terms of just bunkers everywhere. You're going to have water everywhere. There's 4 par 3s. There's, I believe, 4 par 5s on this course as well. So all the par 3s have bunkers. There's a hole, I don't know, it's on the front 9, 7, or 8. The entire front of it, the entire approach is just a bunker that's like 2 to 3 feet down. So it's going to be a tough course. So accuracy matters here. So in terms of looking at statistics to look at, we're going to be looking at greens and regulations. We're going to be looking at proximity to the hole, just driving accuracy, because a lot of these things matter. If you get messed up on the drives, if you're not in the fairway, the trees on this course are thick. It's not like the Masters where you could poke it out in between. They're thick. You're going to have to kind of just waste a stroke, or you're going to risk attempting just hitting trees, really. So staying in the fairways is going to be important, not the widest of fairways either. And then it's just accuracy. You can hit it right onto the green if you're accurate. You can hit it with an iron right away. Because again, this is not a long course, but it is, you have some legs. They're going to be curving. Some of these par 5s you're going to be having, like I said, if you look up right now on PGA, each hole, you can look at it. You can look at each green spot. Every single one of it has a bunker by it, and some of them, if not like 30 to 40% of these holes, have a bunker with water. So it's going to be a very interesting course. Course experience will matter here, at least I believe so. Masters is probably where it matters the most. We have a field of 132 people for this tournament in Hilton Head, Harvard Town, so it should be fun. So let's look into a couple of things. It's a first look, right? I just built this sheet. We have all 132 golfers. Some of their stats don't pull, but it's very few. It's probably a handful of guys. Some guys haven't played yet on the tour. Some guys just don't have updated stats, like Justin Harding, who played very well. So let's just look at it. And I'll start by saying what I said for the Masters. One of the most important things I like to look at is Vegas and Vegas odds. And for every other sport, it's pretty obvious. You look at the Vegas totals in NBA, what is the highest total game? Same thing for the NFL. Same thing for team totals in the MLB and the NHL. You're looking to see where that these experts in Vegas, or people who are really good at it and do this for a living, are projecting the best possible odds. So we have that here. And what I like to look at is the discrepancies between the Vegas odds and the DraftKings pricing, because usually DraftKings pricing comes out right at the same time, or they just don't take into account Vegas as much as they should. And like we know, DraftKings pricing doesn't move. It's stable during the whole week, where Vegas odds do move. So when they move, and if they move in a favorable direction, that's showing us that somebody's underpriced. That's a spot to take advantage of. So this is what I'm looking at here. When I say this, I'm looking at the salaries, which you get in this column. And then I'm looking at Vegas odds, which we have in column F. You're looking over my shoulder right now. So if somebody is a decent odds compared to other people in their salary range, that means they're probably underpriced on DraftKings. So let's just look at this. We'll scroll to one that stands out to me. You have right here Graham McDowell. So Graham McDowell, hope I'm saying that right. He's 50 to 1 odds. He's at $7,500. Everybody else in his price range, again, people that are $7,700 are 50 to 1 odds, but people below him who are all 66, 80 to 1 odds, they're all in the same price range. So in his price range, he has the best odds to actually win this thing, which means that he has the best odds to perform in this. So let's look at some of his other statistics here and see if they line up with this course. He's played it at all 3 years. He got cut in 2016. So this is just recent performance for this course itself. It's nice to have it right there. He got cut in, and let's find him, cut in 2016, tied for 29th in 2017, and last year tied for 55. So made the cut the past 2 years. And this goes without saying, but if you are new here and you're somebody who watches my NBA content, making the cut is important. 66 people, or 6 out of 6 golfers you want to make the cut. I don't know actually, and if somebody can comment this now, what is the cut regulations? This is probably something, or rules for this course. This is probably something that I should have looked at. Is there a exact cutoff line? Is it a certain amount of strokes from the leader? Somebody let me know that. I haven't looked into that, but you want 6 out of 6 golfers to make your cut. If you do, you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to cash that week, because there's going to be a ton of people, especially in a 132 person field, that don't have 6 golfers. They'll have 5, and some might have 4, and some might have 3. So when you have 6, you're going to accumulate more points throughout the weekend, pretty much automatically cashing. So in terms of the odds here for longer shot guys who are maybe a little bit underpriced, he has experience here just because he's played 3 years, has not had success though, but the price at $7,500 is fine. Nothing really pops out to me in terms of just pricing overall. Proximity to the hole is a little bit above average, and his scrambling is nice on this hole, or on this course. I believe that scrambling and bounce back are going to be very big. Especially scrambling. If you're going to get into the trees, things like that, you need to be able to get back on course, because not only are you in the trees, you have some hazards in front of you in terms of water, bunkers, even grass bunkers, I believe, on this course. So the odds-on favorite by a wide margin is Dustin Johnson. Played here for the first time in a few years, maybe the first time ever last year, tied for 16th. Has elevated his game each and every year that goes by extremely well. Once again happening this year, ranked #1 in the world right now, tied for 2nd, 12 under, came back steamrolling back in the Masters. It's hard not to like him. We have 5 guys at 10K or above. Xander, Francisco Molinari, these guys got priced up aggressively, even Bryson. We have a ton of guys in the Masters field that are playing in the Heritage. We have only ever had, I think, 3 players who played in the Masters the week before win the Heritage. I'd be shocked probably if that doesn't happen this week, when you have names like Bryson, Xander, Molinari, Dustin, even Spieth, who's now performing a little bit better. He had a nice showing at the Masters. So yeah, he hasn't played here. A guy who stands out to me right away, and it's probably 2 guys right at the same price point, Webb Simpson. So Simpson ranked 20th in the world. We'll highlight him. 25 to 1 odds to win this thing. Same as Tommy Fleetwood, who is $100 cheaper than him. Fleetwood, very stable throughout the Masters, just never had an excellent showing any day, but he was just very stable each day. 2 under, 1 under each day. Webb Simpson has played this course before. Each of the last 3 years. 2016 tied for 66. He's made the cut each of the last 3 years. 2017 tied for 11th. Top 15 finish. Last year tied for 5th. Top 5 finish. Just came off of a very impressive Masters showing, where I believe he was like 10 under, 11 under, birdied the last hole. I don't know what that got him to. So he's playing recent form extremely well. His bogey avoidance, 11.76, is going to be very important. It's one of the higher bogey avoidances, if not the highest outside of 1 or 2 guys on this entire, or percentage of the time that he bogeys, it's one of the lowest. So we're targeting lower, so it's one of the lowest out of all these guys in this course. So Webb Simpson stands out at 9,300 for a guy. If you're going to be going balanced and relying on a guy who's played here before, made the cut, again, you just need 6 out of 6 golfers and you're probably making money. Now that doesn't mean you're going to win, but you're probably making money. I like Simpson. I like the experience that he has here. Very high scrambling percentage compared to other people in this field. Driving accuracy is also up as of late. You get him at 25 to 1 odds to win this thing. That's pretty good at $9,300, especially when you consider the fact that right after Fleetwood, who's $100 cheaper, and I do have interest in Fleetwood, ranked 15th in the world right now, coming off a nothing impressive, but a good showing at the Masters. Right after that, the odds drop off really quickly into the mid-30s, and then they go right to the 40s and 50s. So you're kind of in this buffer range where you have Webb Simpson, where you have Tommy Fleetwood, and you could even go and say you have Jordan Spieth at 9,500, not that much more expensive, but Spieth's odds are always going to be a little bit more suspect because he's the more popular name. They're always going to be bet down a little bit, so there's a little bit of noise in Spieth's odds, but has been playing extremely well as of late. You do like to see that, especially at the Masters, kind of regaining it, not really falling into the water hazards or anything like that. So you could think that that gives him some sort of psychological bump in a game that is golf, that is extremely psychological. So Webb Simpson and that Tommy Fleetwood, that $9,300 to $9,200 range is where I'm really eyeing in on right now, because the odds of 25 to 1, Vegas says that they have good odds to win this thing, especially when you look right after them in that $8,000 to $9,100 range all the way up to Kisner. The odds dip off pretty significantly. I find playing both of them. They're both guys who can win this thing. They're both guys playing really well right now. Let's just look at Fleetwood. I don't think he's played there. No recent data, at least. He has 3 top 10 finishes so far on tour this year in Fleetwood, and so does Webb Simpson. And I'm not sure if that's factoring in the Masters in terms of majors for the tour. So, yeah, that's the 2 things that when I first saw this, and again, this is a first look. I might come back tomorrow and do more of a solid look when I start to build lineups. Haven't built any yet. Don't know what I can fit in. But I know that I probably can't fit in 2 10K guys. I know I could probably fit in 2 9K guys. And Simpson and Tommy Fleetwood stand out to me. The idea of them being guys who can go out and win this thing, it's not that far stretched, especially since this isn't Augusta. This isn't the Masters. This is a course that experience will matter, one, like the Masters, but it's not a loaded field of 50 guys who are all incredible in the top 100 in the world rankings. You have guys in this field that are touching the top 400, 300, and we can get all the way down to them. You got guys 595th in the world. That might be an error. I don't even know if it goes that far, but it does. 290th, 262nd, 370. You have guys who are just, for the most part, probably don't have a shot at winning this thing. But again, you have guys who are ranked top 20 in the world in this. You have guys who are ranked number 1 in the world in this. So the way that I went about the Masters was kind of avoiding the chalk. I didn't play a 10K guy. I went to 2 high 9K guys, and I got a nice 6K guy, which was actually in that tournament, Kisner. And then I went up and I got some mid-range guys. And I'm kind of eyeing it to do the same in this one. I love Dustin Johnson here. Vegas loves him. 7 to 1 odds to win this thing. Tied for 16th last year, and you usually improve on this course, especially when you're Dustin Johnson. But 11-6 seems steep. If you're going to go to Dustin Johnson, you need to find value. And when that value usually is very sketchy in terms of making the cut. So at the high end, I'm kind of not ignoring the top guys because I do like Kuchar at 10K. I think Kuchar at 10K makes a lot of sense. He's playing as well as he's been playing ever in his career right now, especially on tour this year. He does have experience at this course, tied for 9th, tied for 11th, tied for 23rd, always a top 25 finish, pretty much 2 top 10 finishes. That's nice. That's something good to see. Bryson has had extremely good experience on this course. 2016, tied for 4th. Got cut in 2017, but since he's been playing extremely well since last year, tied for 3rd last year, and he's coming in right now, maybe the hottest guy on tour. Fell apart in the Masters to an extent, double bogeying on the last day, following it up with an ace. But maybe the hottest guy on tour right now, ranked number 8 in the entire world. Yeah, so the top end guys, if I have to rank them, look, DJ is just incredible, but if I have to rank them factoring in price, for me, with all these hazards, with all the trees, things like that, I think it favors a guy like Bryson. I have him 1. I have Kuchar 2, who's been extremely impressive in terms of putting. So that's where I'm looking at the high end, and then that mid-range, we already talked about Webb Simpson, Tommy Fleetwood, how much I love them. Let's look at, and what I want to look at is greens and regulation so far on tour this year, because I think this is going to be really important. And we could also say that scrambling rate is, driving accuracy. I'm going to add some other stats as well. But greens and regulation I think is going to be extremely important, as well as proximity to the hole, actually. And that's what we got right here. I can't seem to get this to court, to condition format with color, but I'll continue to keep trying. I don't know why I won't. But so yeah, greens and regulation. You can see Matt Kuchar, 75.76. He's just been playing absolutely incredible. Right now he has the best greens in regulation in this entire field of 132 people. He's 10K. Like I said, in terms of the 10K guys, I want to save money here. It's Bryson and Kuchar right there, 1A, 1B for me. And Kuchar's greens in regulation on a course where, let me stress it again, the importance of, go and look up the pictures. And we can look them up right now, actually. Just I'm just going to look them up so you guys can just kind of see this on your own. They have the pictures of the holes. Let's just check out, see if we can get there actually. So the holes, every single one of them has hazards, and these aren't just normal hazards. They're built in a way to kind of make you have to be accurate here. So here we go. So we'll fly through them quickly, right? Just to kind of show you this. So hole 1, bunker. Depending on where T location is, that could be rough. Hole 2, bunkers everywhere. You can see coming down the stretch, and trees everywhere, right? So, I mean, you overshoot this thing and you're in a lot of trouble. Not only do you have trees, water, bunkers. Water everywhere, par 4. Bunkers everywhere. Not only bunkers near the fairway, bunkers just randomly in them, or not near the green, bunkers all over the fairway. Bunkers, and this is a crazy, I want to find, is it hole 9? Yeah, hole 9, just random bunkers everywhere. Like, don't overshoot this thing or you're going in a bunker on top of a grass bunker. Pretty scary. So you get the point. I just want to find the one that was actually pretty cool. This one. This is like a 2-foot bunker all around the approach, right? You better not lay this thing up. You better shoot it high and over. Hole 13. You can miss high on this. So you see right here, it's a par 71. It's not long by any means, but you have to be accurate because you're going to have hazards everywhere. So when I say greens and regulation, I want people on the greens, and that number can be skewed a little bit because proximity to the hole also matters. You could be playing terrible with your greens and regulation, but your proximity to the hole can be incredible. And what that means is you're barely missing the greens, right? You're right in the approach, so you're usually on average closer to the hole than maybe some of these people who have higher greens and regulations to you, because when they're missing a lot worse. So Kuchar, he does have a high greens and regulation. He does not have a high proximity to the hole. So that is one of those examples where if he's not hitting the green, he can be having to scramble a good amount. And he's not one of the best scramblers, at least in this tournament. He's right around average, slightly above average. So we'll give him a break. He's made all 12 cuts that he's appeared in this year. So a guy at 10K that you feel really confident in. You could also feel, again, confident in that Tommy Fleetwood making every single cut this year as well. His scrambling rate, incredible. So I'm really going to be focusing in on, I want 6 guys to make the cut. If I want to make money and guarantee myself money, 6 guys to make the cut. And to win a tournament, you need 6. To cash, you need 6. And you can feel really good about not losing money that week or this week if you get 6. So me paying up for Dustin Johnson, and I'm going to say it again, at 11-6, at least early on, and then having to go down. And let's just see what it leaves us with, right? This is my first time I'm putting anybody in a lineup. You pay up for Dustin Johnson, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. And now you're left with 7, 6, 8 for your remaining players. And now the salaries, unlike the Masters, they do go a little bit lower to 6K minimums with a ton of guys to choose from. And these are a lot of guys you're going to have to hash through, right? There's a lot of things to look at. This sheet, Fantasy National, will be great for it. There's a lot of things in here. I mean, we can go down to some of these lower-end guys. When you see $9.99, there's just no odds out yet for them. 3 people. We can go all the way down here and try and pick out people who are being undervalued or just underpriced, right? You have Ernie Els at $6,300, 150 to 1. And I want to find the 100 to 1 odds. So these 2 guys right here, Brian Stewart and Kaiser. So Kaiser or Kazir or whatever his name is, he was actually playing really well in the Masters. $6,700 here, 101 odds. And he's surrounded by people in his price range who are 150 to 125. So this is an example of somebody right next to Brian Stewart who Vegas likes a lot more than DraftKings based on prices. Based on what we're seeing here, Stewart and Kaiser, they should be right around, let's just keep going, they should be right around 7K instead of 6,700. So you can see where you're getting to save some money. Nothing extraordinary, but it's just ways to identify the value. Here's another person right here, Grillo. Grillo I actually like, $7,400, cheaper option, 66 to 1 odds to win this thing. A little bit undervalued in terms of just around $200, but I do like Grillo. Coming off a decent Masters showing there, did make the cut. I mean, tons of people made the cut at the Masters. Has a decent greens and regulations, over 70, over 71, which is well above average. I mean, that's better than Dustin Johnson, right? That's better than a couple of people in this field that are higher up. So Grillo does stand out early on. Again, just trying to do a little first look for everybody here. So when I see Dustin Johnson and it makes me have to then go to a Grillo and then go all the way down and try and save somewhere and do this, like you can do that, right? Now you have 8K equity and you can build a decent lineup. But I'd much rather feel confident in my lineup in terms of guys getting to the cut. I'd much rather go with, and Fleetwood, in my opinion, is underpriced. He's been playing phenomenal. Like he didn't ball out and go 12 under and finish second like Johnson, like Xander. Kuchar playing well, Cantley 10 under at the Masters, but Fleetwood was consistent the entire tournament, I'm pretty sure. We can look at it. Tied for 36, so maybe he actually faltered. Oh, okay, so he shot at +2 in the last round, because I saw him, I kept seeing him go -1, -1, -2, so he ended up, what did he end up then? Even? Total says -2. How's that possible? Okay, yeah, 2 over on the last round. So yeah, so he was -2, which again isn't fantastic when the winner was -13 in Tiger, but not the worst. And that was a course that probably didn't fit Fleetwood the greatest. So yeah, I'm fine going right back to there. Again, Simpson, maybe it's a little bit of a recency bias, but he's been playing extremely well. He has favored well on this course. We can go to Bryson, who's had extreme success on this course as well. But this is where I like to start because, look, you now have the exact same amount of money left over, but you have 2 9K players. You have 2 top 10 in terms of DraftKings, what they project, and in terms of also odds players. That is the exact same thing. If you just go to Dustin Johnson, you have less money to spend than if you get 2 9K guys. And I mean, you can go to Kuch and you can go to Fleetwood, and you have the same amount of money as if you just start with Dustin Johnson. It's pretty incredible. And that's just because Johnson is insanely priced. I mean, you can even go to Bryson and then you can go to Fleetwood and you're getting the exact same amount of money, again, off by barely, than just starting with Dustin Johnson. So I like this strategy more. I like getting 2 upper 9K guys or a 10K guy and an upper 9K guy. I like the idea of if you could run out Bryson and Kuch, but now you're back in that range where you need to get extreme value to make your cut. I do like Kuchar a good amount, and I do like Fleetwood a good amount. And Simpson is right there. And you can do all 3 of them. Like, that is getting risky in terms of now you need 2 guys probably in the 6K range to feel really good, which we can do something like this. And you can start like that, and then that's where you go. So this is just a first look. Again, I haven't done anything with the pricing. Oh, that's NBA. Made an NBA video if you're interested in that. So this is where I'm at. Again, just first look, kind of rambling a little bit. Not really sure what structure I want to go for these first looks. I think it's just pointing out the stats that fit the course, greens and regulations, being able to scramble because there's a ton of hazards here. Maybe I can find some stats specifically on bunkers. And yeah, par 5s I will have. Driving accuracy is important here because you don't want to get messed up. So yeah, that's the way that I'm looking at this right now. I know that there's a ton of players in this midsection that can get some noise and we can talk about here. You have Leishman at 8K, interesting to me. The more that I look down and just in terms of guys who are probably coming up a little bit underpriced on DraftKings based on either recent performance or just stats that I like that are looking nice for this course. You have $7,300 Corey Connors, great greens and regulation here. Things of that nature is what I'm looking at. Past performance is something that I do want to watch for this course. So let's quickly look at past performance overall. And I don't know half these players' names, right? Luke Donald, cut last year, 2 years before that finished second. That's something to note. But also keep in mind, the years before that, or last year and the year before, are not like this year because there's a ton of more higher ranked world players playing in this than usual. Most players just sit out after the Masters. Lots of guys playing in this. Lots of guys trying to get extra strokes in, and I believe that's because we have the PGA now in push to May, PGA Championship. So they have some time, get some more strokes in, get some more rounds in, make some more money potentially. So, I mean, when you get down here, there's a lot of things to want to at least attempt to avoid, and it's obviously guys who have gotten cut every time they play here. So $6,600 players already have high cut equity, but when they get cut every time they play here, it just means they don't have a nice grip for the course, and that's something that I would look at. So yeah, guys who made the course every year have to be getting bumps, right? In 3 years here, he's made the course tied in the 30s, nothing fantastic, but $7,800. At least he has the experience, and usually you're going to get improvement from that. Scoring average so far this year has been nice, below 70, a couple strokes below par. Yeah, that's how I'm looking right now. I think the strategy for this one, and again, we have 2 days till it locks, and I love that. It's either going to be a low 10K player with a low 9K player or 2 9K range players, and then fill out the rest. Dig down into the research today. If you guys want this sheet, again, it's on Patreon. Hit me with a thumbs up. I appreciate that. How did I do this coverage? I hope there's not a ton of people doing golf coverage. Rick Run Good is great. Pat Mayo is great. That's all I've really ever seen. So let me know what you guys think. Some things that I'm going to be adding today and tomorrow. But yeah, that's it. Appreciate you guys. Best of luck. Peace out.